two-step equations. So let's start with the basics. We're going to cover equations with fractions, parentheses, variables on both sides, and even decimals. But let's start with the basic two-step equations. So how would you solve this equation? Let's say that 3x plus 5 is equal to 17. What's the first thing that we need to do in this problem? In order to solve this equation, we need to isolate the x variable. So the first thing we need to move is the 5. We want to get x by itself on the left side, so we need to get rid of the 5. Since the 5 is added to 3x, let's perform the opposite operation. Let's subtract both sides by 5. 5 and negative 5, those two will cancel. So what we have left over on the left side of the equal sign is 3x. 17 minus 5 is 12. Now all we need to do is separate the 3 from the x. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we need to divide both sides by 3. So x is 12 divided by 3, which is 4. And this is the answer. Here's another example that you could try. 4x plus 3 is equal to 19. So based on the last example, take a moment and work on this problem. Feel free to pause the video. Now, just like before, we're going to start with subtraction. Let's subtract both sides by 3. Just to get rid of the 3 on the left side. 3 and negative 3, they add up to 0. So we just have 4x on the left side, and on the right side, it's going to be 19 minus 3, which is 16. Next, to separate the 4 from the x, we need to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1x and x, you could just write it as x. On the right side, it's 16 divided by 4, which is 4. And so that's the answer for this problem. X is equal to 4. Let's try a similar example, but slightly different. So let's say that 17 minus 5x is equal to 2. If that's the case, what is the value of x? So what do you think we need to do in this problem? Well, we need to get rid of the 17 first. On the left, we have positive 17. So we need to begin by subtracting both sides by 17. So these two will add to 0. And then we could bring down the negative 5x. Positive 2 minus 17, that's equal to negative 15. Next, let's divide both sides by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by itself is 1, leaving behind 1x. Negative 15 divided by negative 5 is positive 3. Whenever you divide by two negative numbers, you're going to get a positive result. And so that is the answer. X is equal to 3. Consider this equation. 9 is equal to 3 plus x divided by 4. So we have a fraction. What do you think we need to do in this problem? Well, in this problem, we could start by subtracting both sides by 3, just as we've been doing. 9 minus 3 is 6. Now let's bring down the fraction. So 6 is equal to x divided by 4. The opposite of division is multiplication. So since x is divided by 4, to get rid of that, let's multiply both sides by 4. On the right side, the 4's will cancel, leaving behind an x variable. On the left, we have 4 times 6, which is 24. And so that is the answer. Now, if you want to check your work, you can take this answer and plug it into the 9 is equal to 3 plus, let's replace x with 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And 3 plus 6 is 9. So 9 equals 9. The equation is balanced, which means that this here is indeed the right answer. X is indeed 24. Now let's move on to our next problem. Go ahead and take a minute and try this example. So 8 plus x divided by 3 is equal to 12. So pause the video and write this equation down. Go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to start off by subtracting both sides by 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. Now, in the next step, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So on the left, the 3's will cancel. On the right, we have 4 times 3, which is 12. And so that's going to be the answer for this problem. X is equal to 12. So in this example, the x variable is on the right side. So go ahead and try it. So this problem is very similar to the first two problems that we covered. Even though the x variable is on the other side, the same rules apply. Let's begin by subtracting both sides by 2. So 14 minus 2, that's 12. And on the right side, these will cancel just as before. And as you can see, solving these equations, they're not that difficult. Now, we need to divide both sides by 3. And so x is going to be 12 divided by 3, so x is 4 in this example. Now, sometimes you may have multiple x variables. Like in this problem. 3x plus 8 plus 5x. Let's say this is all equal to 32. Now, what should we do in this example? Now, this problem might require more than 2 steps, so it might be a multi-step problem, which I'll have more later in this video. But what do you think we need to do in this problem? If you see two x variables on the same side, the first thing you should do is combine like terms. So we should add 3x and 5x, which is 8x. Now, we have a problem that's similar to the ones that we dealt with in the beginning. So let's go ahead and subtract both sides by 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. We can bring down the 8x. And on the left side, we have 32 minus 8, which is 24. And now let's divide both sides by 8.